Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. And a nice change of pace. The Atlanta Braves offense was the catalyst to a win. Matt Olson, 3-run homer, RBI double. He was kind of the key guy. Marcell Ozuna, 2 more hits. Travis d'Arnaud hit one about as far as I've ever seen Travis d'Arnaud hit one. It all came before the weather today, and then the Braves offense kind of disappeared. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it just was the Braves offense coming back to earth. But hey, 10 runs in a game. I think it's only happened 3 times, maybe 4 times this season. It was nice to see. Max Fried comes back out after the weather delay. Looks pretty good. 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 run. Pretty good all around. I mean, no complaints against a Twins pitcher who I believe had a 2.06 ERA over his last 12 starts. So it wasn't against some scrub. And it's just like, if this offense can ever put together and just go decent for a little stretch, because really they won 5 out of 7 where they didn't score more than 3 runs in a game. Like, if they could actually just be decent for a little bit of stretch, this team could win a lot of games, because every time it seems like the pitcher comes out there and shoves. I mean, I can't remember the last time we had a bad outing. It was probably Max Fried 2 turns ago where we had a bad starting pitching outing, and the bullpen's been mostly solid. So if this offense could just be average just for a month stretch, they're going to win a hell of a lot of baseball games.
Yeah, it feels like we're, again, building momentum, maybe not, because the margin of error last year was so big because the offense was so good that, in terms of momentum, it was easy to maintain because you could easily go on an onslaught of 9 runs in 2 innings very easily, as we saw last night. That hasn't been the case this year, where it feels like momentum is hard to go by, because even if you kind of go out there and get an absolute gem from whoever, it can be anyone nowadays. Even Charlie Morton, he really rarely goes and throws 2 stinkers in a row. So it's really been up to the lineup, and that's why it feels like it's hard to gain any sort of momentum. But the guys, if at all, it feels like now we're finally gaining momentum, and it's the catalyst, like you mentioned the offense. Individually, it's been guys that have just been absolutely forgotten about on the grand scale, guys who have been DFA'd by other clubs. Whit Merrifield, first game in the leadoff role last night, goes 5 for 5. Since he's come to Atlanta since being designated for assignment by the Phillies, he's been absolutely unbelievable. He's batting over 300. His OPS is well over 800. I mean, this is the exact kind of boost that Atlanta has been. I wrote about it. It feels the exact way Atlanta Braves fans have seen this experiment work out, where one guy is an absolute bum in one organization. He comes to Atlanta one way or other, trade, free agency, waivers, it doesn't matter, and he becomes the best version of himself. And it feels like for the entire season that hadn't been the case until recently with Ursula, Whit Merrifield, Ramon Laureano. And those are the guys that we can really look to and kind of point to. Obviously, Ozuna's been the consistent guy in the lineup, but those guys in particular have been significant factors, and why it feels like maybe, just maybe, we are building some momentum going towards October.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I owe Whit Merrifield an apology. I mean, the guy's been outstanding for the Atlanta Braves. I don't think anybody
when Ozzie comes back, it might be difficult. Ursula, Whit Merrifield, we're like, well, they're both performing well. Obviously, you're going to go with Whit, but both are performing very well.
I think the bigger question is, if a guy like Jared Kelenic keeps being a potato and Ramon Laureano falls off a little bit or something like that, do you start throwing Whit Merrifield out there in the outfield and then play Gio Urshela, especially because how good he's been defensively at third base? I think that, but the thing is, that's what I was kind of hoping this team would eventually have. And if you get Ozzie back and you get Austin Riley back, then you got Whit Merrifield kind of as that super utility piece off the bench, and a guy like Urshela off the bench and Ramon Laureano off the bench, and you have a little bit of depth that you didn't have for basically the entire season. Now, obviously, we don't know if Riley's going to come back, and you have to make the postseason for that to be even in question. But Ozzie definitely is coming back. Michael Harris, it was nice to see him come back after that scare. I mean,
make several great plays.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I was very surprised, especially in the way that the game had kind of turned out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was basically in hand. I mean, of course, we did watch us blow a game to the Rockies, but it looked like it was in hand. It didn't seem like the kind of game you throw him out there. So obviously that was a huge sign that he is damn near 100%. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's back out there in the lineup as soon as today. So yeah, I mean, all positives. I think you definitely got to look at the guys, but I think Matt Olson, if he can start to finally get one long hot stretch, that would be huge. Ozuna's just been that consistent piece. Travis d'Arnaud's been that consistent piece that we just kind of take it for granted because we've been hoping for Sean Murphy, and Travis d'Arnaud's just been that guy, especially offensively. But more than anything, this pitching staff, every single night they come out there and give you something amazing. And it's been, I mean, the Twins have a good lineup, didn't matter. And I know the bullpen didn't do great, but it's been outstanding from them, especially the starting guys. I don't know who's on the bump tonight.
Swelly. I don't really understand. I mean, I said this in the offseason. Imagine what this, well, I related the potential of this rotation to last year's lineup. Imagine what we would look like with Spencer Strider. Like, had Spencer Strider not gone down for the entire season, maybe it was just a couple of months. This may be the greatest Braves rotation ever, including the ones that we saw in the 90s. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable. First of all, because you got a guy, 3 Hall of Fame caliber guys in Spencer Strider, Chris Sale, and Max Fried, emergence of Ronaldo Lopez, emergence of Spencer Schwellenbach, and lo behold, little old Charlie Morton, who, like I said, I don't know this for sure, but it feels like he has not been blown up 2 games in a row across his entire Braves career. Through his 37 through 48 season, he's been as reliable as any back end of the rotation, got middle rotation of the guy. And that's the kind of stuff where if we just squeak into October, Matt Olson gets hot, Austin Riley comes back. Like, I'm starting to get some hope again because this rotation is the best in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that this rotation did this year that I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams could have expected. I mean, I was as high as anybody on Chris Sale, but saying he was going to win the Cy Young, I might have like hinted at it, but I was like, still like that to be as dominant as he's been, clearly the best pitcher
flirting
in the
with a
National
triple
League.
crown.
Yeah. I don't think anybody could have seen that coming, and then him just staying healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, knock on wood, but like, let's hope he stays healthy the rest of the season. But I mean, he's been unbelievable. Nobody could have seen Ronaldo Lopez, and even more surprising, nobody could have seen Spencer Schwellenbach and what he's become, because this guy, as we said last week when he made his last start, 13 innings in Double-A, started in High A Rome, and I'm as confident as him on the mound every single time he touches it. I mean, he is pitching like a frontline guy. Yeah. And so there's been things that have happened this rotation that nobody could have predicted. But yeah, in that scenario, I mean, Charlie Morton's now your like 6th guy, which is absolutely insane. And even
just think about
even
this.
Grant Holmes is coming in.
If Spencer Strider never gets hurt, we probably never have Schwellenbach to a certain extent. Unless, Fried, Lopez, somebody's going to miss some time.
Eventually it would have happened. I don't know if it would have happened this year, though.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it would have happened this year. So, yeah, I mean, the rotation, the depth. I mean, we're not even talking about A.J. Smith-Shawver, who we thought was going to be a big part of it. Ian Anderson has come back and pitched well in AAA. So the depth of this rotation is unbelievable. And we talked about it last week, but that could play a lot into Max Fried's free agency.